Well, hello, everybody. I hope that your family is safe and sound during this crisis. This is Ken Winans from Winans Investments, along with Stephanie Larson, my co-portfolio manager. For many of you, this is the first time you've seen Stephanie because we haven't been able to come by the office. And yes, you probably have noticed my hair is getting longer. Yes, I cannot get my hair cut anywhere, so that is the way it goes. So Stephanie, say hello.
It's very nice to meet you all, at least virtually.
Absolutely. So, this week's very big earnings season. Most of our companies are posting the good, the bad, and the ugly with corporate earnings. The good news is that while it's been rough and downright ugly for a lot of companies in the S&P 500, our core holdings have so far weathered the storm well. As you folks know, I love when research works, when a plan comes together, and our target stocks are only down 6.2% for the year, while the overall market as of now is down nearly 17. So as they say in the military, our stock picking is right on target. Stephanie, why don't you talk about what we see in leadership and things?
Well, so now that we kind of have an idea of what we think is going to be the leaders coming out of this, we have a focus on utilities, staples, some tech, not a lot, but some tech. We are going to be entering the market slowly. But remember, we did this at the end of March as well. We took a small nibble at the market. We bought names that we thought would have strong earnings regardless of the pandemic or what would happen moving forward. And they've actually performed quite well over the last month. So we aren't going to just go full bore into the market. We are going to slowly, strategically enter the market space, buying, nibbling at it, taking turns, putting your cash to work. So don't freak out when you see that we start buying things. And remember that price always leads to news, right? So we are seeing some stabilization in the market. There has been a bear market rally. We're not sure if it will test the lows entirely, but so we are going to slowly start entering now that we feel that we know who's going to be the leaders coming out.
And I would also add, too, that, and as Stephanie just alluded to, it is a stock picker's market. Any idea of using ETF sector funds to try to navigate this kind of thing is a nightmare, to be blunt. We obviously track these things. But also, if there is a correction in the market, the stocks we're buying have proven the ability to weather it better. We mentioned before, now that we have an idea of who the leaders are going into this slow growth kind of economic situation that we're more than likely going to be looking at, the leadership has clearly shifted from what it was a year ago. And these names are there. It's also important to remember, just as it is with overall macro decisions in the portfolios, if the stocks we buy for any reason fail going into the second quarter, without hesitation or remorse, we will trim them back or rotate into things that are working. So this isn't buy a bunch of things and turn our back on them. This is buying things that we think have a chance of doing very well. I always like to have some bright news here. As you know, we put history in the driver's seat, and history points that there is light at the end of this tunnel. As Stephanie alluded to, price does lead news, and history points to 2021 being a good year for investments. In fact, I'm writing on a new Forbes article right now that will talk about that this is the first year since 2008 that stocks, bonds, and real estate have all gotten hit. In fact, housing, according to my numbers, lost 7% in the month of March. So it was an ugly housing market. So, again, we are going to buy when the news might still be a little iffy. So let's talk about bonds, and also that would include preferred stocks. Last broadcast, we talked how we would be focusing on buying preferreds and bonds that are in many cases in out-of-favor sectors like oil and gas and retail. We expect to be fully invested in bonds within the next 30 to 45 days as the bond market returns to normal. Stephanie, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, we've been very aggressive in the past 3 weeks at buying bonds. We bought almost a dozen issuances. We aren't just buying bonds to buy bonds. We're finding bonds that are very deeply discounted. We're finding bonds that are with strong companies with great track records, high yields, at a discount, and also are short term. We're not looking to just start buying all these kinds of bonds at a premium. We had let the cash build in the accounts, in the income accounts especially, over the past 6 months. What we were seeing was that the bond space actually was getting very tight. All these companies had all this extra cash. They had the tax overhauls, so they were very cash heavy, and they were pulling back their bonds. They were calling them. That was what we were seeing at the beginning of the quarter. We were having a hard time keeping our paper. Now what we're found with the yields going down and everything, all the chaos in the market, all these bonds are being traded at a steep discount. And so we are aggressively entering that space, putting the money to work so that we can get the income for our accounts up a lot over this year. And so that's what we've been doing.
Absolutely. And I would just caution everybody that the companies that we buy stocks in, which to me are kind of like the corporate thoroughbreds that you have in a race course, with bonds and with preferreds, it's not necessarily the case. With a bondholder, you don't really care if the company grows. You care that the company pays back its debt obligations plus all interest owed to you. So where I might not want any retailers or oil and gas stocks in our common stock portfolio, we'll certainly look at them on a case-by-case basis with bonds or preferred stocks. The same can be said about banks. I'm not a big fan of necessarily buying bank stocks, but I do like bank preferreds because of the tax preferential treatment that they have. As far as clients go, many of you have asked, is this a good time to be putting money into your portfolios? Stephanie, you have more of these talks with clients than I do.
I get called quite a bit actually about the cash in their accounts. Clients that are putting more money to work that's been sitting on the sideline. If you have clean money sitting on the sideline that's just been sitting there, now's a great time to buy. The market is at lows. This is when you buy and you pick up cheap quality equity with cash that you haven't lost anything with. And people are putting it into their accounts. They're asking to add more to their accounts. If you have more sitting on the sideline and you think that you want to put some to work, now is a good time, and we'd be happy to help you with that.
Absolutely. And not to be too boastful here, but many of you do use multiple managers. And I have to tell you that when I do see the handiwork of some of the people in our industry, Stephanie and I have been somewhat appalled with the lack of defensive strategies, the investment choices, especially owning things in the emerging market in a time like this. If you, we are expecting to get 5-star rankings from Morningstar with the bulk of our strategies, which means we're in the top of our field. If you are inclined to want to give us more money from another manager, please feel free to have us look at your portfolio and we'll give you our 2 cents. There's other items that we should cover. We are planning on reopening the Winans office in Novato by May 15th. The Vegas office will probably be sometime in June as it sits right now. We've talked it together as a staff. The staff has agreed that we want to come back together. That things run smoother when we're all here. So we will plan on that. We'll have to still work around kids at home and family matters, personal issues, but we will plan to have a fully operational office. In the meantime, we are still limiting our staff time to investment critical issues. I know many of you have contacted us about tax concerns or outside administrative issues or even having us explain how certain transactions are done in the portfolios. Folks, we just don't have the bandwidth to do that work right now and still do our work. Stephanie, you want to add anything to that?
No, that's the same. Understand though that even though the office isn't open, we're breaking social distancing norms right now, doing this video for you guys. But we have been in constant contact and constant work with each other. I'm in the office 3, 4, sometimes even 5 days a week. Ken's in the office every day. We have all of our other employees, Vic, we have Priscilla, we have Amy, we have Brittany. Everyone comes in. It's an augmented schedule. Obviously, we have to with the lockdown, but we are still working full time, working on your behalf always.
Absolutely, and not to say many of us take our work home with us as well, so we try to get work done there. We should need to talk about your custodians, TD Ameritrade and Schwab. They are still working on let's say a lockdown schedule as well. Things are okay, but I will tell you that it's still very slow to get things processed. I personally was trying to send a wire, or have a wire sent to me the other day. 3 days later, still hadn't received the wire, and this person had to bring me a check. So, I mean, these things are crazy, but that is still how it's working.
Yeah, understand though that from our point of view, the portfolio management side, the systems, the trading, the reporting, all of that is still fine. We can do our jobs with no problems. The back offices with Schwab and TD Ameritrade are mostly working from home. I've been on the phone with a trader and I hear his kid in the background, laughing or something, or like a little
Yeah.
kid crying. It's pretty funny. We all understand that we're working under a very different time. We're trying our best that we can do. But we also are having issues with the back end of it, taking much longer. I tried opening an account and it took me almost 4 weeks to get an account open with Schwab. That's just unheard of. This type of lag in their operations is not normally what we see. We're hoping that they'll go back to a full staff and back into the offices and things will normalize. But understand that when we submit things to be processed, they're taking much longer than they normally do, unfortunately. But our job is not affected. We still can do what we need to do on the portfolio side.
Absolutely. So the other thing, I keep bringing this up, and I will ask all of you to just try to trust us on this. When it comes to looking at internet websites from your brokerage houses, especially those of you that have bonds and preferred stocks in your portfolio, please understand those sites were really set up to deal with common stocks because stocks trade on centralized exchanges each and every nanosecond around the world 24/7. Bonds and preferred stocks are not that way. And so for you to call us about pricing issues on a website or why certain bonds are not pricing in a certain range on a given day, the illiquidity in those markets make it problematic to use those sites to gauge your portfolio. I've always said it's like trying to look at your house every single day using Zillow to see what's going on there. Folks, in my humble opinion, it's a complete waste of time. Don't use the internet to gauge your portfolio like that. Please don't. Go do something else. Let us worry about your portfolio. If there are any mistakes made on a month in, month out basis, we reconcile the portfolios or the accounts to your portfolios every quarter when we produce your overviews. They have to match up. So we will do that when we do the June, July audit. Other thing I wanted to bring up, as soon as we get the all clear sign, we're going to plan to have a post-crisis conference and webcast at our offices to talk about the new world situation as we're seeing it, hopefully followed up by a reception at my home at that time. So we'll be in touch with you about that. And then, Stephanie, I think we always bring this up, but I think it's important that people know what we do. We have two mandates here. One, that we try to make money when we can make you money, and two, to protect your portfolio when times are uncertain. We're in that transition phase. We do this every single day, folks. Stephanie and I are both athletes, and we know a good offense and a good defense is how you win championships, and that's the way we play the game here. I would just ask that you bear with us as we navigate this world. We clearly know how much cash is in the portfolios every day. We clearly know what we're trying to do, but we also are trying to get other things done as well. So as I bring up all the time, in the investment world, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. We have a good beat on what's going on with this thing. And Stephanie, I know you want to make some final comments.
Yeah, absolutely. We know that things are very scary right now. We know that people are very overwhelmed. It's a new world for us today. We understand that it also takes a lot of trust from you guys in us to do our job and to take care of you, our clients, and your assets. We really appreciate the trust we know we have given you. We also have been trying a lot harder to increase the amount of communication, obviously through videos, write-ups, phone calls, and emails to make sure that you guys know that we're on top of everything, we have it under control, and we are working our absolute hardest for you, our clients.
Absolutely. And of course, we always, for many of you, I've known you for well over 20 years. I thank you for your business, and certainly we've gone through our own set of changes and challenges within the company, but I'm very proud of what this team's been able to accomplish. And I'm now believing, I never thought 2008 would be surpassed in complexity, but this market certainly is the case. So we'll talk to you again next week. Going forward, it might be Stephanie and or I giving you your videos, but again, take care of yourselves, and we look forward to seeing you hopefully sometime this summer. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
See you later.